MAC Player of the Year.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting to see how Akron can deal with the pressure that we think we'll see the Bobcats try to apply.
The Akron Zips are 2-4 in the title game, all under Keith Dambrot. This is their 7th consecutive season in this game, but they've only won it twice before. Last season, lost a heartbreaker to Ohio. But they start off with Zeke Marshall on the turnaround, getting the Zips on the board to open things.
One of the things we'll talk about is Zeke Marshall's maturation process, not only on the court, but emotionally. Big fella plays with his emotions on his sleeve. He's gotten a lot better this season, though, and being more consistent.
Zeke Marshall out on Cooper. So that's a switch that frees up Keeley inside.
Interesting to see a 7-footer switch out like that defensively, and allowing Keeley under the basket.
It also left the rim bare and gave Keeley a clear path without the shot blocker underneath.
His nickname is Tree. Treadwell has got the ball right now. He's an animal on the glass. Extremely strong around the bucket. Extremely strong around the bucket.
You could see with that attempt by Betancourt why DJ Cooper was giving him plenty of room. And now ball movement, wide open look. A little too strong for Nick Kellogg. Open look, a little too strong for Nick Kellogg. And a run out for Brian Walsh. Cross court to Gilliam for three. And Kellogg with the rebound underneath.
It's going to be interesting to watch is both teams know each other extremely well. They know every play they want to run well. They know every play they want to run. It's who can make the best plays in a timely manner.
But he's won 22 or more games all 8 years at Akron prior to this, and the only team in the MAC to do that over the past 8 seasons. So he has this program reaching uncharted heights, but they have not been able, at least last year, and now with another chance this year to get by Ohio and get to the NCAA tournament. A couple buckets now for Reggie Keeley. He has all 4 for the Bobcats.
Bobcats doing a very good job of exploiting early what Akron's trying to do in their defensive pick and roll situations. They're trying to corral DJ Cooper, but he's so good at finding his teammates late in the process.
Both teams going to their...
Good job of doing your work early, big fella. Zeke Marshall getting it done.
Zeke Marshall has been the MAC Defensive Player of the Year 2 years in a row. And he is trying to join Patrick Ewing, Bo Outlaw, and Akeem Olajuwon as the only players in college basketball in the last 30 years to average 12 points, 6 rebounds, 3.5 blocks, and shoot better than 65% from the field.
Great illustration of his overall game and how good he is, even though he doesn't get a lot of national publicity.
Shot clock to 10. Keeley this time working on Marshall and beat him with quickness. 3 buckets for Reggie Keeley, 2 for Zeke Marshall. It's a duel between the post players, and Ohio has the lead back.
Keeley right there showing you that 240-pound frame. He uses quickness, but he also jumped into Zeke Marshall, nullifying his ability to block the shot.
Walsh for 3. Knocks it down off the feed from Zeke Marshall. And we exchange the lead again.
That was big because Walsh was 0 for last night from the field. Took a couple 3-point shots. Took a 2-point field goal opportunity. Didn't make it and was a little gun shy offensively the rest of the game.
Hall on a kick out. Hall on a kick out. And the rebounds to Chauncey Gilliam.
Where's the ball need to go, Bob?
They read the scouting report. A flop. The official's not buying. Flop. The official's not buying it. And Marshall wide open. Couldn't hit with Keeley on the deck.
I love that non-call because there was no advantage gained that time by Marshall.
Another bucket for Reggie Keeley. He has all 8 for Ohio, and we're tied up.
Keeley getting Ohio fans into a frenzy. Coming down feeling good about himself.
Back down to Marshall again. Dribbles it off his foot. There's a very good chance with covered mentally from the shock. Carmelo Betancourt, a freshman who had not started at all this season and was really only about an 8 to 10 minute a game player, will now take a fair number of the minutes that normally would go to Alex Abreu. And they'll also have Nick Harney, who has the basketball now, handling some of the ball handling duties. But when you're going up against DJ Cooper, Stephen Bardo, #1 in the league in steals, who knows what might happen to Akron down the stretch without their primary ball handler, as Walsh can't. Well,
and when you talk about that, Bob, there's point guard by committee, as you mentioned. I expect Nick Harney to get the majority of the minutes at that position just based on his veteran classification. Akron may still be on the nation's longest win streak if Abreu doesn't get suspended from the team, if he doesn't have this situation with law enforcement. And so you're looking at a team that had the longest win streak in the nation, had one of the better point guards in mid-major basketball, and now you come into a situation where they fight their way to the championship round, and they're going up against an Ohio team that's 5th in the nation in turnover rate. So they're 5th in the nation at forcing turnovers. So it's a recipe for disaster. It's a recipe for disaster if you're Akron.
Treadwell can't hit inside. And here's Cooper feeding the post to Keeley. Over the top of Zeke Marshall,
which is players are going into the chest of Zeke Marshall, not allowing him to get off the floor.
So as this game progresses, we will see how Akron deals with the loss of Alex Abreu. They beat Ohio both times these two teams faced during the regular season. The second meeting in overtime at Ohio, but of course both of those games they had Abreu out there in crunch time.
Well, that's the whole difference there. Now you're going to see Akron have to run a lot more set plays.
And Harney on a possession that looked discombobulated from.
Don't have that right now. Nick Harney's going to have to really step up his game and take advantage of DJ Cooper trying to guard him right now.
And Keith Dambrot talking about the Abreu situation, saying we were emotionally ruptured until 2 days ago. They brought in a sports psychologist to talk to the players. In and out for Cooper, and Marshall the rebound. They even had former players in Shaka Smart, a former assistant with Keith Dambrot, send video messages to the team, trying, at least as things stand now with Betancourt on the bench.
Well, and that's what you're going to see in terms of the pressure Ohio can put on you. And their deflections, they get their hands in passing lanes. Do a good job. Look at that pass.
Great feed by Cooper. John Smith finishes underneath.
Bob, it's 14-8. And DJ Cooper hasn't taken one shot yet. Just content to set his teammates up and get the offense going. Then he can find his own offense because he has the ball in his hands so much.
Cooper just about get the steal, or rather off it, goes down on the deck and gets the timeout. The SEC on ABC tomorrow at 1, part of Champ Week, presented by Dick's Sporting Goods. Ball tipped around and taken away by Nick Harney. But has his pocket picked from behind by Nick Kellogg.
In that situation, Harney's teammates have to be screaming at him.
Kellogg able to finish with double clutch.
This veteran Bobcats club not afraid to take it right to Zeke Marshall. See a turnover problem right there for Akron.
Treadwell, that's a tough shot and a bad one. Offensive rebound, though, by McAdams. He can't hit and somehow forces it back up top to Harney. McAdams drives into a double team, gets tied up at a foul call. What's stumbled offensively since going exclusively to Zeke Marshall through the first couple of minutes.
Tree Treadwell. Akron just seems very lackadaisical handling the basketball against this pressure. They've got to really be aggressive in what they're trying to do and more intentional.
There's Betancourt attacking, and Treadwell an offensive rebound and a putback.
Tree Treadwell can do that as well as anyone in the MAC conference. Great strength and athleticism, and has a nose for the rock.
Only his third year of organized basketball. A pull up, rolling off the mark, for Travis Wilkins.
Bob, Akron doesn't run. They don't like the fast break too often. But in this scenario, where it's so difficult for them to score in the half-court set, I would look for some opportunities once they were able to secure the defensive glass.
Foul call.
Saw some Hawaiian Christmas socks last night. Now we see some orange socks. Hey, whatever works, because he had 14 and 12 last night. I'd go back with the Hawaiian socks if I was him.
In rhythm, a turnaround for Zeke Marshall, and it's a 4-point game.
Akron coach Keith Dambrot thinks that Zeke Marshall can really be an effective pro. He's just now starting to mature.
Walter Offit hits a three, and Offit saves his best for when the lights shine brightest. 7 career postseason games. He averages 14 a game, and he was spectacular last year in the tournament in Ohio's run to the Sweet 16. Harney in the post, blocked. In the post, blocked. Getting a hand on it was Ivo Baltic.
That's not Harney's game. Doesn't like to bang. He'd rather showcase his skill set.
Baltic outside, Offit. That shot blocked by Marshall. Baltic outside, Offit. That shot blocked by Marshall. Out on the perimeter, Zeke Marshall gets the block. And here comes Betancourt. A little shake and bake, got caught and turned it over. At Ohio, his MAC win percentage at .750, 90 and 30 all time. He spent the last 4 years the head coach at TCU before coming back really to where his coaching roots are in this conference.
When we met with him, Bob, he just seemed so pleased and happy. And why wouldn't he be? He came back with a team that...
About how it's difficult to come in and take over a team that obviously was very used to John Gross, who's now moved on to Illinois, but it's a veteran team and a team that experienced a lot of success. It's not as if he's coming in and trying to deal with some guys that he can still mold. It's more that he has had to mold what he has done to how they play to try and bring them through their senior season, this core, and see if he can get them back to where John Gross had them.
And that's hogwash, because it's a lot easier to come back and take over a team that is as talented as Ohio than it is to come in with nothing.
Floating the baseline for Chauncey Gilliam.
Chauncey Gilliam's not a big scorer, but in this type of game with the quickness on the perimeter of Ohio, he will have a little bit more success than some of his backcourt mates. I mean, let me come in and coach DJ Cooper in his senior year.
Nice finger roll and a finish by Walter Offit. I'm not sure you have to yell at me.
No, I'm not yelling at you.
You are a little bit. You're shooting the messenger.
No,
I'm just telling you what Jim Christian said.
Yeah, I'm saying that Walter Offit, a fifth-year senior, DJ Cooper, Keeley, Kellogg. Do I need to continue? I'll take that.
Arnie has it slapped away.
I'll take that.
Arnie has it slapped away. Travis Wilkins recovers. Here come the Bobcats again. Hooper with a no-look. Cats again. Hooper with a no-look. But a bad pass. And a break the other way. Throwing it down is Harney. So a 4-point turnaround in transition. And the Ohio lead now at 7.
And sometimes DJ Cooper does that. He takes chances. You'll see him come up with turnovers from time to time. Coach Christian is willing to live with that based on the amount of production that you get from this young man.
Cooper on the drive. Cooper on the drive. Lost it. Poked away from behind by Harney. Forsythe in the game now for Zeke Marshall as the backup center, not nearly the offensive threat. So we'll see how Akron deals now that Betancourt has Keeley on a switch. That's off the front rim. Cooper tries to save it, cannot do it. And we've got a time. But he has also most notably set a single season blocks record in the MAC. He's the career record holder for block shots in the MAC and the active leader in all of college basketball. As Walsh comes up short, so normally gets the job done at the defensive end, and now a cheap foul.
He's much more effective when he catches and fires instead of putting it on the deck. Zips really need to be careful here. This is a danger zone for them.
Turnaround, good. TJ Hall stretches the Ohio lead. That's his first basket.
So right now, the only other player that's getting any kind of offensive rhythm is Zeke Marshall. He needs some help here, but the offense isn't the problem, Bob. I think that Akron has not been able to stop Ohio in anything that they wanted. Bobcats are getting. Ain't Smith is a much better matchup defensively against Treadwell than Hall. Hall is a stretch forward, but he's more like a small forward being pressed into the power forward, power forward position.
Treadwell with a jump stop. Tries a scoop. That's no good. Gets his own miss and powers that up and in.
That's the old Moses Malone trick. Put it up on the glass and go get it.
E.J. Cooper, the MAC Player of the Year, still scoreless here in the first half. Only taken one field goal attempt. Missed his only three. But Reggie Keeley has gotten work done, and now he's got a mismatch against Kretzer. Blocked, though, with the help from a mismatch against Kretzer. Blocked, though, with the help from Marshall. That's his second block.
Great timing by Zeke Marshall.
Way outside, it's Kretzer. Bad shot, but an offensive rebound, and Marshall will...
Great defensive play by Zeke Marshall.
Keith Dambrot went on and on about how much maturation he feels has taken place with Zeke Marshall since he first arrived at Akron. The active leader in all of college basketball, and already by a long shot the MAC leader in the history of the conference in block shots. But you even made mention of that. We were sitting here watching the semifinals last night, that you think Zeke Marshall is a different player from an intangible standpoint than he was.
Yeah, because last year when we covered this championship game and we watched the semifinals like we did last night, he would wear his emotion. He would wear his emotion on his sleeve, and when something bad happened, it would affect his game. This year, he seems like he's letting the game come to him. He's not as emotionally up and down. He's just more consistent. Let's pick up on that. And so if they see you're frustrated, they see certain things going wrong for you, they're going to add to that. They're going to step on your feet, pull your shorts, get into you a little bit more. And if he keeps more of a poker face, it allows him to be much more effective.
Backdoor cut and a nice find.
Marshall pretty much having the offense run through him here in the first half.
So Carmelo Betancourt, one game in double figures this season. Only a freshman. And Smith will have to go to the Ohio bench with 3 fouls as Reggie Keeley comes right back in. But without Alex Abreu, we're talking with Keith Dambrot about the pressure that's on Betancourt. And he said Carmelo Betancourt can't try to be Alex Abreu. Carmelo Betancourt can't try to be Alex Abreu. He just has to do what he does. Transport the ball. Don't turn it over. Play good defense. And he doesn't feel as if the pressure is on Betancourt as much as Abreu's absence would lead you to believe.
Well, that's Dambrot talking from a coach's standpoint to try to take some of that pressure off of him. It's obviously on Betancourt because everything else is the same for Akron, for this team that ripped off 19 in a row this season, the longest winning streak in the nation.
Keeley with the left hand is able to fish.
Reggie Keeley is a load on that box. Undersized big. And I was just noticing he's got quite a dome on him.
Slapped away from behind. Good hands by Cooper. It's on the end line, and it will go over to 4 hours of bracketology. Our experts will break it all down. Selection Sunday on ESPN and also live on Watch ESPN tomorrow. And Joe Lunardi, some bad news for some notable teams, especially out of the ACC as things stand right now. He's got UVA and Maryland both on the outside looking in. And here's Marshall caught on a switch against DJ Cooper again. So Reggie Keeley, the mismatch underneath. Tip follow after a couple of his own misses, and it stays with Ohio. And the way they've run their offense has gotten Marshall away from the basket and off of Reggie Keeley. What adjustments do you expect Keith Dambrot to make?
Well, he's got to have Marshall be a weak side defender as opposed to being on the ball, but right now he's guarding Keeley.
There it is again.
And they switch.
Here's Marshall out on Cooper, and Cooper instead finds Kellogg, whose reverse wouldn't go.
That's what I mean by both of these teams know each other so well. They make these chest adjustments, where they know that Marshall's going to switch on a pick and roll.
Kretzer with a live triple.
Often got away with a foul on Kretzer on the release. He shot that one from Akron, didn't he?
He was 5 for 5 from 3 in the overtime win for Akron against Ohio back in late February.
Kretzer, a high school football player, has got some toughness about him.
Baltic with a head fake. Fades away inexplicably. Fake. Fades away inexplicably. And puts an air ball up.
Baltic had a lane ball from our vantage point right to the rim. I'm not sure why he took a sidestep and fell back. That's a very difficult shot. But Baltic has struggled with his offense all season long.
Treadwell again has it slapped away. Recovers. Baltic stands him up and forces the turnover.
John Gross, but this season has really struggled trying to find his way, and he's so athletic. Why he doesn't attack the rim more?
Baltic one-on-one in the post. Gives it up to the corner. Offit. Off the mark. Fit. Off the mark. Treadwell the rebound. Here comes Akron. Akron with 9 field goals. That's their 10th turnover field goals. That's their 10th turnover, though, here in the first half. Cooper the other way, still looking for his first basket. And he has it snatched away for his first basket. And he has it snatched away by Kretzer. Pull up by Betancourt, and Carmelo Betancourt makes it a 2-point game.
Very impressive by Akron to get back in this game. It hasn't been pretty. They've made timely stops, gotten some turnovers. Some other guys have gotten on the board now on the offensive end.
There's the switch again. Zeke Marshall out on DJ Cooper. To the corner to Baltic. That hit the backboard first. And Marshall down low, fumbles the rebound.
The player that needs the ball for Ohio is Reggie Keeley. And he hasn't touched it the last 3 possessions.
DJ Cooper's now on the bench, as he has been at times invisible here in the first half. 6 straight field goal misses for Ohio. This is Stevie Taylor taking over a point guard. Stevie Taylor. Stevie Taylor. He turns it over. Harney attacks the rim. Blocking foul call. Saturday tonight, 2 more major conference titles will be decided on ESPN and also live on Watch ESPN, part of Championship Week, presented by Dick's Sporting Goods. As DJ Cooper comes right back in the game for Ohio for their final offensive possession. And here comes Demetrius Treadwell replacing Zeke Marshall. Hard to believe that the MAC Player of the Year, he has 3 assists, but he has been that invisible offensively in the first half.
Well, he's going to be key in terms of trying to stop Ohio, any team that he plays, especially Akron. So they're going to try to keep the ball out of his hands, and when he does have it, they're going to double team him off a pick and roll situation. So other players have to step up.
Cheap foul called on Jake Kretzer.
That's a terrible call. Break for Akron.
Only team foul number 6. So Akron is now out of fouls to give, but they had 1 to give. 15 seconds to go in the first half. And now Kretzer backing off a bit with no fouls to give. Cooper gives it up. Ball down the lane. The finger roll finish at the horn. The Akron sideline looking for a traveling call. Only had 1 made field goal in the last 17.5 minutes of the first half. So the go-to players, for the most part, not deciding this game, at least to this point. We'll see what happens in the second half and what role DJ Cooper's able to play. Here he is trying a 3, and that comes up way short. Trying a 3, and that comes up way short.
Very difficult for your first shot coming out of the halftime break is a contested 3, and so I think we're going to see DJ Cooper press a little bit more on the offensive end, try to get going early.
Treadwell's jumper a little too strong. A fight under
16 feet. They'll let him have that all day. He's got to be more effective and more aggressive right in here.
And that time he finds Gilliam cutting for the backdoor layup. Don't let the Sox fool you on Demetrius Treadwell. He can play, even though it looks like he got dressed in the dark. Half of Akron's team looks as if they went to the clearance rack to get their sneakers and socks, doesn't it? Here's the stuff we can't sell. You guys interested? Cooper straight away. He's now 0 for 3 and a foul called underneath on TJ Hall.
Wow. That's Treadwell's socks right there.
It's not a good look. I guess for him.
Yeah, for him and some of the younger viewers that may like to be colorful. But he needs to go back to those Hawaiian socks because he was balling last night.
Betancourt floats one to Marshall, and he's fouled. Reggie Keeley, double figures in the first half.
Reggie Keeley was really aggressive, going through the chest of Zeke Marshall, not allowing him to block shots in the first half. We saw Offit do it. We saw Keeley get into his chest. This veteran tough ball club of Ohio. They played against Zeke Marshall a few times.
Good comeback by Akron. The last time we were tied, it was 8-8. Offit hands to Kellogg. That's no good. Hit the backboard first. To Kellogg. That's no good. Hit the backboard first.
Akron has done a very good job of getting Ohio into their style of play. Walk it up. Try to attack in the half-court set. Not getting turnovers and easy run-out points like they were enjoyed in the first half.
Take a seat next to Jim Christian in foul trouble.
Young man with the ball right there, Treadwell.
Offensive rebound with one arm, and Treadwell called for the foul, and now that's 2 personal fouls now on Treadwell, as that demonstrative act results not only in the technical foul, which is a big call, but it puts DJ Cooper at the free throw line. He knocks down the first. Up to go down. Does that get DJ Cooper going?
I think so. You want to keep someone like Cooper down offensively and not feeling good about themselves. And when you're a scorer like that, you see that ball go to the net. I don't care if it's a layup, a free throw, a jumper. All of a sudden, confidence level elevates.
Offit seals inside. Can't score around Marshall. Offensive rebound for Offit. Right back up at Marshall. Some contact. An offensive rebound for Offit. Right back up at Marshall. Some contact. No call. A scramble. And here's Betancourt.
Marshall won't get credited for a block, but he might as well, because he adjusted that initial attempt by Walter Offit at the rim. Tree Treadwell looks out of it.
Score the back.
Feeling like he was in position. It always happens in the MAC championship. Things start to get a little heated. So these guys are talking. Tree Treadwell's talking to DJ Cooper. So both coaches need to grab their teams, Bob, and tell them to settle down. Because you don't want to do something very unfortunate to hurt your team in this chance to go dancing.
Cooper picks up his dribble. Now he needs some help. Offit has it knocked away, but recovered by Kellogg. 8 to shoot. Baltic. 5 on the shot clock. Sets up Cooper. He gives it up to Offit. And he scores on the baseline with 2 seconds on the timer.
Wow, Walter Offit is going to the rim with reckless abandon. I've not seen Zeke Marshall neutralized like this on so many attacks at the rim.
Gilliam drives. He scores. And we're tied again. The intensity has very much picked up in the first 4.5 minutes of the second half. Keeley, a rainbow jumper, no good. Way up in the air for an offensive rebound is Offit. Way up in the air for an offensive rebound is Offit, but it's taken back by Marshall.
And what you're starting to see, Bob, is the Hatfield and McCoys. These two teams have seen each other at this tournament so often in years past. Not a lot of love.
Sun squeezes it off the glass and through. It looked as if that shot was partially blocked on the way up. And it's the first lead for Akron since it was 8-6. Ivo Baltic to a wide open Keeley. Passed up the jumper. Instead it's Cooper. That hit the backboard first. Instead it's Cooper. That hit the backboard first. He still doesn't have a field goal. Gilliam for 3. Got it! Timeout, Ohio. Here swept in the regular season by Akron. But last year, Ohio won in the closing moments to get to the NCAA tournament and an eventual run to the Sweet 16. Bob Wischusen and Stephen Bardo here in Cleveland. Ohio has missed 15 of their last 17 from the field. Now they go back down inside and just missing. Now they go back down inside and just missing again is Reggie Keeley.
But I like that attempt by Ohio, trying to get the ball into Keeley, where he was very effective early in the game. That's a high percentage shot, trying to draw a foul as well on Zeke Marshall.
Keeley started 6 of his first 7. He is now 2 for his last 8. Shot clock winding down. Betancourt with 10 to shoot. Wide open Treadwell floats across the lane. The ball fake, and coming up short was Walsh. Marshall keeps it alive. Walsh. Marshall keeps it alive. Walsh. Some contact, no call. Back the other way comes Kellogg. The other way comes Kellogg. A steal by Betancourt. Cruises in for the finger roll.
Ohio is disjointed right now. DJ Cooper on the bench, standing, wanting to get back in, looking at his coach. Bobcats just have no rhythm on the offensive end right now.
Marshall jumps over the top of Keeley. Presented by Buick. That's going to be must-watch TV for us college basketball junkies.
It should be much must-watch TV for everyone because the story was so tremendous at the time.
DJ Cooper back in the game. Passed up an opportunity to lay up to feed Ricardo Johnson, and now coming over to get the block.
It's unfortunate.
We've all been there.
Exactly.
Leaning in, rattling it in and out is Nick Harney. Held ball, and the possession arrow.
Basketball getting good looks at the rim.
And Ohio starts off the second half 1 for their first 11 from the field, but now on the DJ Cooper, the MAC player of the year, still without a field goal. 0 for 4 from the field. There's only 2 points, free throws, when he shot the technical foul earlier in the half. Trying to create some space here. Bounces one through traffic, allowing the flyby, and fitting is John Smith.
DJ Cooper's vision is tremendous. He can see through defenders. He has a great sense of timing. Excellent job.
Treadwell blocked by Smith, but got it back. Across the lanes, blocked by Smith again. Harney sets up Kretzer. Tapped around, it ends up underneath. The hard foul, and Nick Harney.
On the minds of these players.
You can see John Smith, 21, and Demetrius Treadwell, 1 in white. They're talking to each other. Now Smith's about to come out of the game as he just picked up his 4th foul. So at least one participant in the trash talking heads to the bench, and you have to think for a while as John Smith's got 4 fouls.
Nick Harney has really struggled handling the basketball, been very nonchalant. Ohio is taking advantage of that. I believe Coach Dambrot may have seen the same thing. They're trying to make, I thought Harney was coming out there.
Obviously now Betancourt, you would think, would take over the primary ball handling duties as he comes back on with 12 minutes to go. Cooper, again it's Zeke Marshall jumping out on DJ Cooper. Creates a size mismatch inside. They went through a 14-game stretch. They won 13 in a row to start off their conference season, and they actually put together a 19-game winning streak as Cooper, with a floater, still can't buy his first field goal. Cooper, with a floater, still can't buy his first field goal. But without Alex Abreu, they were less of a favorite to win their own conference tournament. Here they are, though, with a 7-point lead, 11.5 minutes remaining.
Shows you the veteran personnel on this ball club.
Basket interference was called against Akron, whether the ball went through or not for TJ Hall, but it did. So Ohio cuts the lead to 5.
And that's great execution by the Bobcats. Struggling in the half-court set. Get a stop, get a nice run out. Now you get your confidence level up and try to sit back down defensively once again.
Betancourt, hesitation dribble. Betancourt, hesitation dribble. Too strong on the layup attempt. Here comes Cooper. Draws the foul. To Ohio.
And I would try to get Keeley going again.
And check on Chauncey Gilliam.
And he's arguing with the officials that there was no contact there. That's the easiest call for officials to make. It's almost like an offensive lineman extending his arms trying to pass block. That's exactly what he did.
Over the back call on. Akron has missed their last 5 straight field goal attempts, and both teams are now out of fouls to give, so they'll shoot free throws the rest of the way.
Oh, you got to get a ball to Zeke Marshall in that situation. Nothing more frustrating for big men to work so hard to get in position to not get the basketball.
Instead, it's Treadwell with 7 to shoot. Treadwell needs some help. Gilliam's going to have to put one up. Fades away for 3. Off the front rim. The long rebound. Fades away for 3. Off the front rim. The long rebound. Run down by Walter Offit. Hands it off to Cooper. Goes right at Betancourt. Offensive foul. Call.
Clearly outside. And that's a first teamer in DJ Cooper really struggling offensively. Trying to force the issue.
Tapped around, run down in the corner by TJ Hall. Cooper down to a knee, keeps his dribble, tries a 3. No good again.
Tell you what, Betancourt he's hurt. Kind of got knocked right when he received the pass, and it looks like a cramp.
Steve Dambrot has not had Betancourt on the floor, at least to me, Steve. It seems as if it's been a much more helter-skelter Akron offense when Nick Harney has been the primary ball handler, as he is now.
He's too loose with the basketball, and you're exactly right.
Harney a floater, old school.
Cooper's going to go at Kretzer.
Kellogg sets up Hall. Air ball. Can they win this game without him being at least some factor offensively?
I don't think so. And his confidence level is contagious to the rest of his teammates. So they become very tight on the offensive end.
Treadwell pinned and taken away. Treadwell pinned and taken away by Reggie Keeley. Here comes Cooper. He's 0 for 6 from the field so far. A little head fake. Sets up Hall. A foul inside.
Yeah, DJ Cooper still staying with setting his teammates up, even though he hasn't had any success on the offensive end. Still very effective trying to get his teammates involved.
Well, he's 12th in the history of college basketball in most assists. Came into tonight with 924 career assists. And how about the names he's chasing? 11th on that list, Gary Payton. 10th on that list, Doug Gottlieb. Our old colleague at ESPN has moved over to CBS. So, maybe the top 10. I mean, it's household names that DJ Cooper is approaching in terms of most total career assists. He's a great passer, but he also averages about 15 points a game, and he only has 2 so far in this championship game.
And his teammates need him to step up. And it's not too late because he's got the ball in his hands so often. He can force the issue a little bit, but Ohio needs some stops and some runouts to get some open layups, to get a little bit more confidence.
Zeke Marshall turns baseline. The tip follow inside for Treadwell, and he draws the bench with 4 for Ohio. Evo Baltic set to come back in. And the troubles at the line continue for Demetrius Treadwell. He was 2 for 9 at the line last night in the 3-point win over Kent State. He's got 8 points and 8 rebounds. Last night he had 14 points and 12 rebounds, his 8th double-double this season. But Akron was dreadful at the line. They were 13 of 29 and still managed to win the 3-point game.
Yeah, that shows you that they're doing a lot of things right that don't necessarily show up on the stat sheet, but right here, they've got to extend this lead, Bob, because I think Ohio is due for a run right now.
DJ Cooper. Fouled by Marshall. That's the 3rd on, but 0 for 6 from the field. Stephen Bardo about to step to the free throw line to shoot a couple here and draw his team maybe within 5, but he continues to be unable to get clean looks at the basket.
Well, that's why Keith Dambrot and his staff put Treadwell on him, and they have Zeke Marshall in a pick and roll situation switch onto him because they understand that the one that DJ Cooper may not have is a lot of quickness and speed at the point guard position. So he's not able to blow past anyone off the bounce. And thus the size of Treadwell and Marshall have really bothered Cooper.
The long rebound. Right back to Kretzer off his own miss from 3. He finds Treadwell. No reason to rush if you're Akron, and they'll back it out. Harney left alone, finds Treadwell. Great ball movement by Akron, and they get the layup to extend the lead to 8.
You've seen the Bobcats now starting to yell at each other. Some defensive breakdowns that time, allowing an easy look for Treadwell. Bobcats are coming apart at the seams right in front of us. Got to give him the basketball. Have to get Keeley the basketball.
Kellogg, no good. Kellogg, no good. Zeke Marshall the rebound.
And so now Akron brings the ball up, takes more time in the shot clock.
Harney, will they give him continuation? They will. It's an
Bobcats breaking down right now.
And the third foul on Reggie Keeley. Without DJ, Ohio has gone ice cold from the field here in the second half. They are 20 of their last 24 field goal attempts, and they have seen an 8-point lead flip completely into an 11-point deficit with 6:44 to go. And now Cooper goes to the bench.
I like that move by Christian. A lot of people wouldn't take DJ Cooper out of the basketball game, but he's not giving them anything right now. And they've got to get some ball movement.
Tough entry pass, but Harney ends up foul.
He doesn't sit long, but I like that. Just let him sit down, settle down for a second. And what happens is when you're on the bench and your team does something right, it will readjust your attitude. And so DJ Cooper not feeling good about things right now. But those are productive free throw shots right there because they got the ball inside to Keeley.
Keeley had 14 in the first half. Those are his first 2 here in the second half.
And Harney is an apple turnover waiting to happen.
It is a scramble for it, and it ends up with a layup. Kretzer off the feed from Marshall as Nick Harney lucked his way into some help in a basket.
Well, they were very fortunate in that situation right there. Just too loose with the basketball.
Cooper's already back at the scorer's table. Keeley against Kretzer. Spins baseline with the left hand. They wave off at the other end, and that's the 4th foul on Kretzer.
Yeah, but Harney was in the act of shooting. Keeley was still spinning when the foul was called. Nice job by the official, being very emphatic.
And for Akron fans that have watched the adventure that is Nick Harney with the basketball, well, here comes Carmelo Betancourt back in the game as Kretzer sits down with 4 fouls. Betancourt left with that cramp in his calf, but you can see him left-hand side of your screen, still trying to work it out, but he's back on the floor. Look 2 at the line for Keeley.
Now, if I'm Ohio, I go into some pressure right now. Betancourt, you know he's not 100%. Good job by Taylor trying to make him handle the basketball. I would do this the rest of the game. Got him pinned along the sideline.
Gilliam fouled by Stevie T, being considered for a while as an at-large team as Chauncey Gilliam goes to the free throw line. But without Alex Abreu and a couple of losses down the stretch, seems as if the common line of thinking here in the MAC is that this is now a 1-bid league. So we've got 2 teams here fighting for their lives to see if they can get in the NCAA tournament with a win.
That's what makes championship game at this level so much fun to cover and watch. Doesn't matter that the Zips have the nation's longest win streak at 19 games in a row. It's do or die here.
Cooper turns the corner, leans in, high off the glass. Still no field goals, but Gilliam standing out of bounds. DJ Cooper is now 0 for 7 from the field.
When he tried to turn the corner and had a decent look there. If he comes to the rim, he's always going to see Zeke Marshall in the neighborhood, so it's tougher and tougher here.
7 seconds on the shot clock. Taylor for 3. High in the air, the rebound. 3. High in the air, the rebound, tapped by Marshall and picked up by Brian Walsh.
Cooper doesn't need to go for the steal, just needs to be solid defensively.
He's all over Walsh. And now it's Betancourt with Walter Offit right in the face of the freshman. Treadwell, reverse, it's good. A 14-point lead for Akron.
Nice give and go.
Traveling called on Walter Offit.
That's something as an ex-player you pick up on. And now Ohio trying to pick up the pressure.
And the Zips in no rush. It's Ivo Baltic out on Betancourt, so that gives Betancourt all the time in the world to dribble the shot clock down. Treadwell has it poked away. Gilliam can't recover.
In this situation, he needs to blow by Treadwell and just go to the rim. Just get to the rim.
Cooper for three. Off the mark again. Offit takes it away, but a foul call. They only have 42 points tonight. DJ Cooper still without a field goal. Under 4 minutes to go, down by 15. It's a tall order, but can they put a scare into Akron before this is over?
I mean, the three-point shot is a great equalizer, but they have not been effective from that range all night long. So 5 of 30.
Kellogg can't hit from three. Kellogg can't hit from three. Marshall the rebound. And you have to think the game plan would be get all over Nick Harney. And here comes the pressure as Cooper runs right by. A foul called, and Harney will go to the line to shoot two.
He's going to have that steal from Nick Harney.
Ohio is 5 of their last 31 from the field. And they are 1 for 18 from three as a team. And DJ Cooper has the most misses. He's 0 for 6. For a team that scores in bunches, again, 74 points a game, #1 in the league. 47% from the field on average, #1 in the league. The second best three-point shooting team on average in the MAC. Just had one of those nights. Haven't made shots.
Well, they haven't made shots, but Akron has had a lot to do with that. When you take the head off of your team, it just makes it difficult.
Another bad play by Cooper and a steal by Walsh.
And so now you're trying to cut into a 16-point lead against a veteran ball club. It's going to be next to impossible for them to get back into it.
That Ohio's largest lead. Midway through the first half, they led by 9.
See Ivo Baltic on the sideline. Smith with their heads down, just have struggled all night long to generate any kind of offense and help Cooper out.
Offit comes up short. Offit comes up short. And the Bobcats look. And the Bobcats look to get a steal in the backcourt, and they do. Cooper for three. That won't go again. Cooper for three. That won't go again. Zeke Marshall may have barely grazed that shot from DJ Cooper and knocked it offline. Still in all, it's 1 for 19 from three for Ohio, and now Cooper called for a foul on Walsh. 3 Eastern, noon Pacific begins with Kia NBA Countdown, and then it's Knicks Clippers at 3:30 on ABC.
Bob had said that offense sells tickets, but defense wins championships. And that's what you're seeing right now. The main concern for Akron was the loss of Alex Abreu and his ability to see this ball club and handle the pressure from a team in Ohio that is 5th in the nation in forced turnover.
Taylor with the left hand, no good. Tapped around. Taylor with the left hand, no good. Tapped around, and it's another miss. And another rebound for Zeke Marshall.
Can't say enough about Keith Dambrot and his staff and their game plan in terms of switching out bigs on DJ Cooper and not allowing him easy looks from the three.
Gilliam has his pocket picked. Wall.
We're seeing some angry fans coming past us. Not happy with Ohio's performance.
4 on the shot clock. Gilliam looks up, realizes it, and knocks it down.
It's a dominating performance from the Akron Zips tonight. And what character for a team to overcome the loss of their point guard, to have this dominating performance against a Bobcat team that was outstanding with one of the best players in the country, and they totally shut DJ Cooper down.
A hit ahead, off it, misses Neely. Akron. As Akron swept the season series, so they were the #1 seed. They shared the regular season title, but the Zips are going to avenge last year's loss in this very game to this very opponent, and they will get to the NCAA tournament this year as champions of the MAC for the 3rd time under Keith Dambrot. It's been a crazy season for Akron, but a chance on this night for their fans to celebrate. Walsh dribbles it down, fades away. He's got another. The layup good for Taylor.
Well, you talked about it, Bob. Quincy Diggs was lost at the beginning of the year. 2 players out at the first 3 games because of compliance situation.
And important players in that. And Treadwell and Nick Harney.
So it's been a roller coaster ride for this club. Great composure and character to ride for this club. Great composure and character to fight their way back and to dominate in this championship game.
The last 8 seconds tick down. And the champions of the MAC, the Akron Zips, they are going to the NCAA tournament.